To say that Nakheel's imprint is on the city of Dubai would be an understatement, literally meaning palm in English. Nakheel are the master developers of the Palm Jumeirah. The group has a wider portfolio across Dubai, including in Battuta Mall, Dragon Mart and many other community developments. Their Chief Commercial Officer, Aqil Kazim, joined the podcast to tell us how the company bring these projects to life and shed light on some of the more recent plans on both the Palm Jumeirah and Deer Islands. Welcome to Dubai Works, a business podcast about the innovators, the products, the services and trending topics. Lovin Dubai's take on the business stories that matter. My name is Richard Fitzgerald. I'm the founder of Augustus Media, publishers of Lovin Dubai, Lovin Saudi and Smashy TV. Each week we'll be interviewing the dynamic business leaders of Dubai. Okay, good morning Aqil.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here this morning.
My pleasure.
And thanks for joining us on the Dubai Works Business Podcast.
No, anytime.
Nakheel, correct me if I'm wrong, means palm in Arabic. It's a flagship, it's an iconic destination. It's been documented from a construction miracle. But as you said, it's now a thriving community, business environment. And how has that developed? What's the story been and kind of what's happening now on the Palm?
Sure. I probably want to go back a little bit, back 18 years ago when it all started. I was then working at the Dubai municipality as an engineer. And I actually remember the first time hearing the news. It was really the start of something very ambitious. It was like a new journey for the city of Dubai. Nobody had heard of freehold property then. And there was nothing really significant on this side of Dubai. So not only was it in a new location, not only was it man-made, but it was in the shape of a palm tree and in the middle of the sea. So there's a lot of, raised eyebrows, some excitement, questions and so on.
So what was the inspiration for it? I mean, we've heard of land recovery in places like the Netherlands, and now it seems possible to build a man-made island like this. Mm-hmm. But how was that possible back then? Where was the vision, and how did someone believe that it was going to be possible to fulfill?
The leadership, obviously, it's not unknown for them to be of long visionaries and long-term thinkers. Dubai was already growing at a rapid pace then, and as we all know, since then had continued to show double-digit growths for a number of years. But the city was small, and the value created for tourism and in the property market through water frontage property was immense. And so there were many reasons, but one big reason that made sense to the city was the shoreline had to expand to create more value. Palm Jumeirah, for instance, just one of the man-made projects in Dubai, would have added 80 kilometers to the coastline of Dubai. So strategically, it made sense from that perspective.
And that's proved true, through the hotels that are there as a destination and the property of having the private beaches. That vision and strategy has worked out well.
Absolutely, and the geographical benefit of Dubai, the sunshine available on many days of the year, and the existing demands of the tourists and the residents for going to the beach and enjoying beachfront property. So having additional coastline was, I think, one of the reasons. Then it had to be it had to have a wow factor, I guess. And what better way to to portray it other than a palm tree, which is the local tree that we're known for. But the design in the shape of a palm tree also gave a lot of surface area and beach length. So if I was to just describe it in words, you've got the trunk in the middle and then the front sticking out.
Yeah.
Each front, for those who've never been to the Palm, has rows of villas on each side of the front.
Yeah.
So you're talking about maybe 60 to 70 villas in on each side. So that added the shape allowed us to add significant new lengths of beaches to the city. The crescent is primarily there as a breakwater, and the master planners decided that it was best to house the hotels on the breakwater.
Okay.
So in essence, the residences are on the fronts.
Yeah.
The hotels are mostly on the trunk and the
iconic
crescent.
ones like Atlantis and Zabila Zarai and Waldorf Astoria and many more on the horizon. From a commercial point of view, do Nakheel still, are they involved in the residential and the hotel developments? Do you have new projects on the Palm? What can residents of Dubai expect now as the ongoing story of the Palm?
Sure. So we are master developers, but we're also developers. We do our own projects.
Yeah.
In addition to selling plots to third-party developers. So on the Palm, in the past, our projects are known as shoreline buildings. We've got Club Istamari as a leisure club. We've got a number of other projects on the Palm. In terms of the present, we are working on the Palm Tower, which is right in the middle, in the heart of the Palm. It is a mixed-use project that has a residential component, a hotel component, and a retail component. Okay. This project is one of my favorites because it ticks all the right boxes. If you were to visit the Palm Tower or live in the Palm Tower, I would tick several boxes. I've got access to the beach, access to public transportation, being in this case the monorail, which is, you may know, connected to the tram, which is connected ultimately to the metro.
Okay.
Access to one of the leading hotels, St. Regis, and its club. So we'll have a beach club managed by St. Regis as well.
Okay.
And obviously the building itself, with it being an architectural wonder, again in the shape of a palm tree at the top, with 360-degree views from the apartments and the hotel rooms. Right at the top is an infinity pool and a sky restaurant and a viewing deck.
Amazing.
Which is under construction now, and I took a few people to see it last week, and just a phenomenal vantage point from there to see the Arabian Gulf, Burj Al Arab, and the JBR skyline.
Yeah.
Aside from Palm Tower, we've got Palm 360, which is the next flagship for us, but that one's on the Crescent.
Yeah.
And that's also a twin tower with a very high infinity pool. In terms of design, I just love that one.
It's mixed use as well. It's residential, commercial, hotel.
That one's service apartments with restaurants and entertainment on the ground floor. It's the pool is going to be one of the longest infinity and highest infinity pools in the world.
Amazing. Thinking of Singapore and things like that.
Absolutely.
To compete with, amazing.
Absolutely. Well, the one in Singapore, I would say probably I prefer this one, because this one you get to see just a picturesque view of the Palm from that vantage point. You're at 155 meters here.
Okay.
In an infinity pool looking at the Palm. I'm excited to actually swim in this one.
Cool.
Just below Palm 360 is our latest retail project, The Point.
Okay.
Which is something now I've started to go to very regularly, and chipping into my savings to dine there every weekend.
That's just recently opened with new things coming on board.
That's right. That's new. It has about 70 to 72 outlets.
Okay.
Mostly consisting of food and beverage and restaurants and leisure outlets.
Amazing.
We've tried to make sure that the fun factor is embedded in this project. We arrange activities. It's quite animated. It's quite a lot of variety, and it's through the volume of such offerings that it makes it a destination that you would want to go to but keep coming back to.
Yeah. So, and in addition, there's a lot of innovation happening on the Palm, but it's also serving the community there. Almost 80,000 residents there, which is like a small town or a big town in some countries. And so that community's been served, and people are going to the Palm. So it's a great story, and we'll continue to follow the story of Palm Jumeirah. Overall, Nakheel has many projects. It's also a construction company in a city that's known for construction. What you led with innovation. What's the competition like? What's the current environment like on construction, and how do you continue to kind of stand out and build Nakheel's value proposition in this city?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do. We have a pipeline right now. We have over 58 billion dirhams worth of projects under development as we speak. These include residential projects, retail, leisure, and hotels. They're all pivotal to Dubai's future tourism strategy, which aims to bring, as you know, 25 million visitors to the Emirate by the year 2025.
Yeah.
So we're contributing ourselves in a big way by building these new destinations and new types of hotels and resorts that never been seen before in Dubai to open up the city to a new sector of visitors. For example, we're building 2 large resorts at Deira Islands. This is something I want to talk about more.
Sure.
Which will offer all-inclusive family accommodation on the beach, something that is not currently available here in Dubai. In terms of hotels, we've got 18 hotels and resorts with more than 6,000 rooms altogether in this pipeline. 2 are already open, and they're doing well. One's at Ibn Battuta Mall, if you've heard of it, and Dragon Mart.
Yeah.
Others in construction in various stages.
At different communities, Nakheel developments, and different malls coming on board as well.
Absolutely. So that's the other thing about Nakheel, is that what we do is quite varied, not only in terms of location, so we've got projects in all parts of Dubai, but also varied in terms of levels of luxury and offerings and so on. So we like to think that we influence a lot of home seekers and we have a lot of value to offer. So what we do is the vital that we offer the city a range of such accommodation for all tastes and budgets.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, I mean, on the retail side, we're already well known for Ibn Battuta Mall, which is the largest themed mall in the world.
Yeah.
And Dragon Mart. I mean, Dragon Mart, the largest Chinese trading hub outside mainland China.
Yeah.
Everybody shops there.
It's well known. It's an institution. Yeah, amazing. So, and then, I'm a marketer, I'm into branding and things like that. And, yes, Nakheel is well-known brand in Dubai, but some people mightn't connect how spread out and how big the portfolio is. Is that something that you think about with Ibn Battuta, with Dragon Mart, with the Palm, and now the new project? Will they have their own brand identities? And is that important? Or does it tie into a sort of a brand strategy as well with Nakheel?
Yeah, I mean, you've got the sub-brands. So, for instance, we just talked about The Point, which is a brand in itself. But we obviously have the DNA of Nakheel in all of these brands. So there is obviously a connection or a visual connection or an emotional connection that is linked. So if you were to go to The Point or the upcoming Nakheel Mall in the Palm, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, we don't want to lose the connection to Nakheel.
Yeah. And it helps structurally manage all this as well from an operational point of view. I imagine, especially with the commercial side of it, like bringing them on board all these retail outlets, hotels, surely it's a big project, and to have that kind of efficiently managed under one group there would be benefits.
Yeah, I mean, there is a degree of entrepreneurial thinking here in the company. We have to remember that we're one player like others in the Dubai real estate landscape, so we've got to be competitive. But being in Dubai makes it relatively easy for us to operate in this scale because of Dubai's fundamentals. Specifically in this case would be the strong regulatory frameworks of the government, easy access to talent, access to resources, and efficient services. So coming up with projects like this, no matter how diverse or large in scale, Dubai makes it easy for us as a platform to be able to deliver on these projects.
Yeah, and interesting you mentioned, that Nakheel almost being the right a company for the city that Dubai is. It's innovative, it's forward thinking, and one of the projects that you have at the moment is in Deira Islands is related to an approach which is to offer a different sort of opportunity from a residential and commercial and more affordable, which is in line with the tourism strategy. How is the Deira Islands progressing, and what can we expect from that project?
I mean, I don't know if everybody is probably familiar with Deira Islands because we haven't opened it for business yet. The island is big. There's a number of things going on there. So I just wanted to start with the actual strategy behind Deira Islands. So it's a man-made island again,
okay.
With mixed-use objectives, tourism, residential, and so on. But it's in Deira. And there are very few offerings right now in Deira of this nature. I personally have a emotional bond with Deira. I grew up there.
Okay, amazing.
But for the last 20 years, I've been living in this part of Dubai, so I miss it. The soul of Dubai was there when I was growing up, at least, and there are certain elements that even today tourists actually experience.
How would we relate to that? Do you mean the fish market, the community, the go souk, the ports, the natural kind of daily lives? Is that what you mean?
Correct. This is as far as the modern day attractions are concerned, and obviously tourists love those. So for me, obviously, it was the simpler life then.
Yeah.
The markets were much of a simpler nature. Everybody knew everybody else, and the souks you mentioned, the bazaars, the simple life of the abras and the boats and so on. So that's from a tourist and a retail perspective. The economy there is quite big. You have a number of traders and businessmen who have businesses over there that don't want to move necessarily.
Yeah.
So we have a number of offerings for them in Deira Islands, but also we're creating a new destination for tourism to expand on what is there in terms of culture and the soul of Dubai. So that was the original strategy behind the project. We are investing heavily in the project ourselves. So we're doing a number of projects in retail. So we have a mall coming up called Deira Mall.
Okay.
Just in terms of size, if I can just throw a number there, that's like
so that will be on the islands. And just to give people an idea, there's Deira, which won't be affected, and you've got Port Rashid, and then the islands kind of jut out there. It's a big space, and it's on the way to kind of Sharjah. That's where it's going to be, and the mall will be different to what's already in Deira. It's an add-on.
So it's an add-on in terms of, I think, location, because in the water, it's in the sea. But just for the listeners, it's actually just next to the Hyatt Regency. So you'd enter through there near Dubai Hospital. Okay. Just opposite the fish market. Yeah. So basically, it's quite a thriving location right now anyway. Yeah. Basically, it will...
So it's also a different concept to the Palm Jumeirah. It's a different... if I'm right, a price point. It's more affordable. It's targeted towards a different demographic from a resident and a tourist point of view.
Yeah, I mean, we did actually on purpose try to not completely focus on luxury in all of our projects, and this is actually in line with Dubai's tourism strategy as well, that we want to actually have a varied offering for tourists. So, for instance, in the hospitality and hotel sectors, we felt that there was a gap in the 4-star hospitality market, and we've decided to actually create a platform for that. So Deira Islands, yes, absolutely, would be the ideal waterfront location for such concepts.
You mean like all the beautiful hotels that are on the shorefront and on the Palm sometimes might be out of reach for some people travelling here, affordability, and Deira Islands will offer a lower price point, but almost the same sort of the same offering in terms
similar
of beach
offering
and-
on the waterfront.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
exactly.
that was the whole
Amazing.
idea behind it. And
And you're bringing in existing kind of brands from other markets that haven't been here yet that will tailor to that.
absolutely, I mean, we've got 2 joint ventures underway. One is with a Spanish firm called Rio Resorts.
Okay.
So that's again a 4-star concept, but that's actually an all-inclusive concept that's unique to Dubai right now. The other one is from the Far East, Santara.
Okay.
Again, 4-star concept with focus on entertainment and leisure.
Yeah.
Again, on the waterfront. Aside from our projects, we've also sold some land to third-party developers who would also be wanting to develop similar
Interesting.
hotels in the islands. So aside from the hotels, so there's a lot of retail offerings from Nakheel. So there's the mall, that's about
Yeah.
4.2 million square feet in size, quite big. Then there's the night market, which is due to open soon.
Oh, amazing.
We're excited to
Heard
actually.
about this, yeah.
Absolutely. And that again, the volume is going to create a destination. It's the
Yeah.
number of outlets that are there that's going to offer the varied offerings that
Amazing.
you
So,
make
yeah.
your visit quite an experience as a tourist.
It's interesting. I'm getting a bigger picture now of what Nakheel offers in terms of variety. The mall, for example, will look at commercial brands and commercially that aren't in existing Dubai Mall, etc., etc. So you kind of, the Palm offers something, Batuta offers something, Dragonmart offers something, and Deer Islands will offer something else. Is that how you see it? Or do you have, commercial agreements with retail brands across all your outlets as well?
I don't follow. We have a good network of partnerships with
Okay.
retail brands that actually take up space in our malls, do joint projects with us, and so on. But no, these projects are all Nakheel projects,
Yeah.
and they're quite deliberate. And basically, they have to always be speaking the same language as the government strategy for tourism and development.
In terms of timeline, and not to commit you to anything, but what are we looking at here with Deer Mall, for example, and the night market? Is that something that's imminent this year or next year or in the future?
So there's a number of things happening in Deir Island. So we're also doing the infrastructure works. I would say maybe between 3 to 4 years, you'll see a lot of this complete.
Amazing.
And basically, there are certain things that probably complete earlier than others.
Okay.
It's just due to the scale of this offering. The island is going to breathe more life into this part of Dubai. And the night market, for instance, is going to be very special in that it was created to encourage entrepreneurship amongst young Emiratis. So hopefully the offerings will be also very unique.
Okay.
Because bringing together a new generation of local traders of Dubai at Dubai's oldest, most traditional location.
Yeah.
The night market is due to open much earlier, so we hope to open that this year. But the mall will be open a bit later. In terms of the hotels, Rio will open its doors next year.
Okay.
And then Santara after that.
Okay, amazing. I'm a consumer like all of us, and I love choice, and I get excited about these projects. But as we hear more and more projects on board, is there a difference between, say, malls, for example? In many ways, and many people who read Love in Dubai will see that all the projects that, the population's increasing, the tourism population is coming in. Dubai is a hub for this region. So, people who are positive and have a kind of a bullish outlook would see that there will be demand for this. But do you think that there is maybe a case of oversaturation? Or could there be a case that there's too many malls? And is that considered at all? And how do you kind of view that?
Yeah, I think there may be a case to be made there, but I think I wouldn't want to generalize the issue. For instance, in Nakheel, we have certain communities that could both have a community mall and a mall.
Yeah.
So as a resident, I probably do my convenience shopping at the local pavilion
Community
or the
mall,
local community mall, but then I also go to the shopping mall to take my kids ice skating or bowling or for a burger or and have a good time and have an experiential element to it. So I think sometimes some of these malls complement each other.
Okay.
But then also some of these malls cater to new catchments. So for instance, on the Palm, if I was to live on the front, I would want to have access to a nearby retail offering.
Absolutely.
So we need a mall there. So there. I think we probably wouldn't want to generalize. But as far as Nakheel is concerned, each of our malls have a business plan underpinning it, and the footfalls are healthy, and then it actually attracts tourists. So we all accept that there's tourist growth, and therefore you will need more retail space. So I think as far as Nakheel is concerned, each of our malls have a certain business plan.
Exactly. As areas and population increases, the people do want this service and this offering in terms of a format. How closely do you look at kind of macro issues such as trends with e-commerce and retail, and is that something that you look at for your retail partners, that they are, bricks and mortar and digital offerings, and is that part of your kind of digital strategy for your outlets as well?
It is, but our plan for e-commerce still is yet to be outlaid. E-commerce is on our radar. It does complement the bricks and mortar approach to retail. However, we should also not forget the fundamentals. A big percentage of our retail customers are tourists who would, still want the experiential element of a mall, and therefore physically actually be at the mall. Aside from that, we have decided to adapt to these rapidly changing trends in buying behavior, and one example of that is that we've just made a bit more room available for experiential and entertainment elements of a shopping mall, and to a lesser extent maybe the fashion stores and the traditional stores of the past.
I think I think what I was kind of getting at is that the consumer behavior doesn't see the line between digital and offline, and that when looking at new offerings, is digital a focus in the physical space?
Oh, absolutely.
What sort of technological advances are available now, and what's
absolutely. I mean, penetrating the market through social media is something we absolutely use. We talked about earlier casually about influencers, and all the tools that are available today makes it so cost effective to actually advertise and market our offerings to customers that traditionally would have probably been much more expensive and much less targeted. So yes, absolutely, we're embracing this technology, and we use it at very different levels in our shopping malls and our retail offerings. We also use it on our real estate residential property offerings as well. So absolutely.
Interesting. So just to touch on that, do you see IoT and kind of connectivity important in your offerings from a residential point of view as well, and a hotel point of view?
From a residential perspective, it's difficult to design universally. So basically, I wouldn't want to, limit a property's attractiveness to a certain type of demand and so on. So there's always a balance. So what would actually work for everyone versus what's probably popular with this type of community, and so on. So there are some trade secrets, but absolutely. Because of our scale and our mandate, we tend to actually try our best to actually balance it out from the information we have.
Interesting. And what sort of challenges do you face in pulling off these big projects on a kind of holistic level? And even what are the kind of daily ongoing challenges that are prevalent for this sort of operation?
From a technical perspective, the challenges are the typical challenges any developer would face. But I would probably want to maybe take a step back and look at it maybe from a bigger picture perspective. Nakheel and Dubai has set itself to compete in the global landscape. This, in my opinion, is our first challenge. It needs to remain attractive. One subset of this that I can talk about, because it affects real estate, is the visa policy that was recently introduced for investors. So we have first the retirement visa. I, for one, know many expats who already call Dubai a home, but then they probably want to spend a few more years in Dubai post-retirement. So this visa policy opens up new frontiers for developers like us. And these are the type of challenges that we, as a collectively, a city of Dubai, have found solutions for to deal with them. You have other, you might, excuse me, you must have heard of the other types of visas, of the investor visas and
10-year visas,
10-year visas and so on that are in the works. So another challenge that perhaps you can talk about is to adopt the necessary shifts in our business strategy to adapt to these new demands. For example, moving away from a pure focus on luxury that we talked about and offering a much broader variety of property offerings or retail or hotel offerings suit all tastes and pockets. This happens to fit with Nakheel's similarly varied property portfolio and future pipeline. So we hope to be in sync with the city's plans.
Okay. And interesting. So you mentioned growing up here in Deira and the projects that are ongoing for Nakheel. What do you think Dubai looks like in 10 years' time? What sort of environment are we living in, and what's the city like? Predict the future.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the future, for me, this subject was interestingly triggered a couple of weeks ago when I first read Sheikh Mohammed's 8 Principles.
Yeah.
Some of them really moved me, and I have some favorites.
Okay, which are?
But, well, the talent available to Dubai is something that I said, wow, okay, this is stuff that I always think about, and someone's put them into words, and it all makes sense.
It's actually, on that point, it's fascinating. I went to a workshop at SAE University on Sunday, a trimester, and I was just so impressed, from animation to graphic to film. You don't need to yes, it's great to bring in talent elsewhere, but there's so much talent here already from all over the world. And it's amazing, really, what's on our doorstep in terms of talent.
Absolutely. But the reason I mention this is that, so these are principles set by Sheikh Mohammed, and that's what we're set ourselves to do in the next few years, and that's the future. And one of those principles was Dubai being the capital of business. I said, yeah, we are the capital of business, and we're just reconfirming and reinforcing that we still continue to want to be the capital of business. So, what does Dubai do well and continue to build on? So, to me, it's the unparalleled pro-enterprising culture that forms our business identity. And that is basically the future for me. Dubai has an economic plan. I think we call it Dubai Plan 2021. If you've got access to it, we want to be the city of happy people, creative, empowered people, a vibrant, multicultural society, preferred investment destination, sustainable economic goal. These are the objectives that we've set ourselves for ourselves, and that's the mantra for all of us as developers, or retailers and so on. And we have to reinforce these principles in everything that we do.
Amazing. That's a good note to finish on. I think it's so fascinating to see how aligned a commercial construction huge group is with the vision of the city, and it makes things a lot kind of makes you understand why almost miracle creations happen, because everything's kind of aligned in the same direction.
Well, I think there's a level of expectation now, whether it be residents or tourists or any stakeholder, that Dubai has to be either deliver something that's the best or number one or has a certain wow factor. And that actually raised the bar for everybody. And that actually collectively, whether it being private sector or government sector, collectively helps push Dubai in the competitive global scene of attracting investments.
Okay, amazing. I think we'll end it there. Aqil, it's been a pleasure, and I'm so much more interested in what's happening now, especially in Deira Islands. Thank you very much for coming in, and it would be great to have you back on again in the future.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot.